my gracious.
Even back in high school, Jennifer inspired more than
Y cambié la imagen por vender bitcoins.
Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Growing Up Latina. I am your host, Ali V, and welcome to another amazing episode. Today, we have a very special guest, which I'm super excited about. I feel like I should read off some of your stats. I ain't gonna hold you, so I'm just gonna get right into it. She's a highly experienced professional with a background in digital marketing, brand strategy, and with a bachelor's degree in public relations and broadcast journalism from Penn State University. She has worked in various roles such as the Creative Collective, HBO Max, Ticketmaster, and Rock Nation. Currently serving as an independent consultant, she brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise in the creative and marketing industry. Today we have Kaitlyn Miranda. Hi. When you hear those things, when you hear like an intro of like just your incredible journey, like what does that do for you?
Honestly, you reading those stats, I'm like, some of those things I feel like it was like ages ago, or like that was like in another life. And I'm like, am I a cat? Like, how many lives have I lived? Or sometimes I'm like, dang, I did do all of that. So like, it just feels really good and very nostalgic. But it does feel good nevertheless. Thank you. That was a beautiful intro.
Of course. So I want to know, like, how do you even get started in this field? Like, take me back to like baby Kaitlyn. Like, did you have dreams about this? Was this like on your vision board? Like, what was this?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so baby Kaitlyn just always dreamt big. I think I always knew I wanted to be super successful. I wanted to do a million things. I wanted to be known for a million things, but I didn't know what those things were. And I think when I was in high school, I was really into like PR and like all the glam around being in PR. And that's what I wanted to do at that time. And I think I quickly learned that no job is just sexy. Like there's so much unsexy parts to it. So I kind of pivoted ever so often into creative marketing. But I think I always knew I wanted to be in the communications industry. I just didn't know in what capacity. And I think I definitely put my hand in a couple things before I was able to really say like, okay, this is my thing. This is what I'm good at. This is what I like to do. But I think I always knew I wanted to be in some type of communications field. I just didn't know to what capacity. And I also didn't know what possibilities were out there for me when I was in college. I mean, in high school. So I think just being able to experience it in college really helped me gain some clarity. But I always knew I wanted a yap some way, somehow, in whatever capacity. But I'm happy I finally found an outlet to do so.
Yes. What was it about the communications field that you were drawn to?
I think for me, what I was drawn to was just the different ways to tell stories.
Mhm.
I think, whether it's broadcast journalism, PR, marketing, like it's just all different outlets or vessels of storytelling. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's the piece of it that I was truly like into and like very attracted to in terms of the communications industry. And then also I was just like a pop culture nerd. I was all into entertainment and media, so that kind of was a no-brainer. But I think I was just really into the different ways or different styles of storytelling and like how each role contributes to telling these stories. And I was just really fascinated by that very early. So I knew that was the field. I just didn't know where to start at a time, but I'm happy I did.
What was like your first representation of this where you just saw someone else and said, "Okay, yeah, that's what I want to do."
So I feel like this is funny answer, but Taina. I watched Taina and I was like,
Yes.
my girl, she exudes main character energy. Like I'm like, okay, like I definitely knew I always like with watching a show like that growing up, I think showed me really early on that I just wanted to be in the forefront, just talking, telling a story, and telling it impactfully. She was such like that show was such a monumental piece of culture, and Latin culture specifically, because it's not very often that you see people who look like us on the big screen, and just seeing her really just take up space and really dominate herself and who she is something that really inspired me. And that was like my first like visual of being in that space.
You know what I love about this answer is Taina is such a classic show that people still bring it up to this day. And it just speaks to like when you make classic, whether it's stories or just any type of artwork, it really will stand the test of time because I can look at that show today, like literally today, and still get some inspiration from the show. Or you know how people want to like bring back shows and they want to do like reruns, and you see it a lot with like Family Matters or like 106 in Park. So like Taina's very much that show where you can still draw some inspiration. So I definitely love that answer. What was it like for you growing up? Like, do you have brothers and sisters? Was the house chaotic? Like, what was the vibes?
I brought the chaos. It's just me. I have a couple siblings, but I definitely think I'm the oldest one, so I just brought all the fire. I was definitely performing. I was a woman show at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and like I had all the dance routines, and I made my family sit through all the musical things, and
Yes.
I that's the house. Like me performing and them having to just sit through it, and they have no choice but to like just appreciate the artistry.
I could just imagine you now. Like, I feel like if we even just bring back some like baby photos of you or like even videos, I feel like you would be the one dancing and singing and just like very main character energy.
Yes,
My
absolutely.
God. What was like your first job that is associated with the role that you're doing today? From as early as you can remember.
Honestly, for me, my first job that was like really in this field, aside from all my other jobs, is CultureCon. I think during the pandemic, I think everybody had this state of pivoting and like just figuring out what really mattered to them, what their true purpose was. And in 2020, I got my role with CultureCon, and I think my life changed after that because I really just like completely shifted my perspective on like what my purpose is, who am I doing it for, and why am I doing it. So I would say CultureCon was my first really big experience, and just understanding the importance of building community and like just cultivating and fostering community and things of that sort. I think I always did it. Like in college, I was like presidents or like members of clubs and things
Mm.
like that, and same at some of my older jobs. But I think CultureCon really cemented like that for me, where it was like, oh, this is real. This is like these are the people we're impacting. Like everything we do is for them. And I think this was 4 years ago at this point, so that was my first exposure to this type of work.
Yeah. But before that, it wasn't easy for you. So explain a little bit about like what you were doing before you even got into CultureCon because there is like, to what you just said, a whole mindset shift, a perspective, right? On like what you want your next steps to be. But you literally had to hit rock bottom to get to where you are today. So just tell people like what was your occupation before all of this happened?
Yeah, for sure. I was doing a lot of digital marketing. I was a digital marketing coordinator fresh out of college. I graduated in 2017, so I was at Ticketmaster doing digital marketing, and I was a digital marketing coordinator. And I feel like in that role, it was just new for me. It was very much like super corporate and like one way of doing things, one right way of doing things. And I think that was my first exposure into like the real world, and it was just a learning curve for me because I'm a very opinionated person. I'm a person that comes with a lot of ideas. I'm super excited and enthusiastic about the ideas I have. And I don't think I worked like my first exposure into the workplace was super welcoming to that
Mhm.
type of foundation. So it was definitely a learning curve. And I think for me, I got laid off early on into the pandemic, and I just looked at it like that's God giving me a sign, and I just need to really rethink what I want to do and why I want to do it. I think digital marketing, well, marketing as a whole has always been interesting to me because, once again, storytelling, but I think I knew I needed to be in a space that fostered my creativity in order for me to like really grow as a professional and as a person. And that job just wasn't doing it for me. And my rock bottom was getting laid off, but I didn't look at it as a rock bottom. I think I
Yeah.
just looked at it like, you know what? It sucks. It's not the best scenario. I don't know what's happening. I've never experienced an international pandemic, but like I just felt like, this is a sign that I just got to go back to the drawing board and figure it out.
Were you scared?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I didn't even know. I think with me, I'm a Virgo and I'm a planner.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, worldwide pandemic. How do you plan for that? I don't
Like,
think
how are you
I did.
navigating through this?
Yeah, it wasn't in the I was trying to go through the files. I'm like, it's not in the 3-year plan, the 5-year plan. Like none of those things were like giving worldwide pandemic. So I'm like, okay, like I don't know how to like I think what scared me is that I didn't know the answer. I
Right.
think usually I'm really good at kind of preparing for the worst, and I didn't have the answer here. And that was super scary for me because I'm like, I'm really just going out on a whim and just betting on myself and hoping that I get blessings in return. And I'm just leaning on faith right now because there's no
Sure.
case study for this. So I just have to, but it was terrifying.
I'm sure. And then just take me back. So, okay, you get laid off. This is during the pandemic or a little bit before the pandemic, right? So, a little bit before the pandemic, you get laid off, and now we're like locked in. You know what I'm saying? So, there's nowhere to go. So, what is your next step? Do you just like jump into content creation? What, what do you do next? Do you cry about it for 3 days and then go into like, what is it?
I think I cried about it for a day. I cried
Yes.
about it for a day. I really gave myself a day to like really process my emotions. And then what was good was that I was still living with my parents at the time. And I think just having that like support and like people around me that I love and trust to really just lean on as
Mm.
I like navigate what is happening was super helpful. And I gave myself like a month to just sit in it. Like just sit. What are you feeling? Like what are you thinking? What are the things that you want out of life, and how can we get there now that we're locked in and we can't go nowhere? Like how do you connect with things? And I joined all the virtual panels and
Like
networking
the
sessions,
clubhouse and all
the
that stuff.
clubhouses and the
Yeah.
panel talks and all the things. I joined all of them. And I think, I really just took some really valuable information. And something that stood out to me in one of those clubhouse conversations was like, this is the perfect time to just really relearn yourself and figure out what it is that you want. And I think I really just sat with myself and was like, okay, but why do I like this? Why do I like that? Why did I have so much fun at CultureCon? Why did I have so much fun at this clubhouse talk, virtual talk? Why do I love house party? Like what are the things that I love? And I think the constant for me was community. So I think I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna, meet people and try to creative consult for free and just get things on my portfolio. And I think I did a call for like anybody who wants free creative marketing consultations on Twitter. And the first week it was just a little dim. It wasn't a lot of
Yeah.
people like taking it, but by the third week, like it was just getting booked up by word of mouth. People were like, "Oh, she actually has really good ideas." And I was able to add that to my portfolio, and it kind of helped me align on what I like to do, like and
Mhm.
what makes me happy. So that was a really good exercise.
I think there's two things that I'm hearing here. So one is, you kind of force yourself to network, right? And that's not easy for some people. Like some people, like for me, even though I always say like, podcasting and interviewing, like I'm in my bag with this. Like I'm in my comfort zone. But then put me in a room where I don't know anyone. Like I turn into like the only introvert. It's the weirdest thing ever. You would never even think I had a podcast. So like what advice would you give someone who is struggling with that? Like they're nervous, they want to meet people, they want to be in these spaces, but they just don't have that courage and that confidence to kind of do this. Like what do you say to those people?
I think I had a little bit of like a learning, like I got a little bit of a jump start just because I was able to do it online. And I think that
Yeah.
kind of removes the pressure of having to go up to people, introduce yourself.
Yes.
But now that in-person networking is back in action, full throttle, I will say like just find one person, compliment their outfit,
Yes.
like find somebody who has something that you like. And I kid you not, once you get that one person out the way, it's like dominoes falling. Like it will be like, okay, hey girl, okay, she does this too. Like, and it's like you just gotta get your feet wet little by little. Like you like that person's glasses. Oh, you like that person's shoes. Like just going up to that one person, because I think you meet one person, that one person can connect you to another person, and that one person
Correct.
can connect you to this person. So I think just focusing on the one and not putting so much pressure on yourself to get like 10, 20 contacts by the end of the night, I think that relieves the pressure off yourself and just allows you to organically connect like the human you are. And it's okay to not like talk to every single person in the room. Like that's scary. But as long as you find like a solid 3, 4, a
Yeah.
solid 3, 4, I think that's a win. A win is a win.
You know what I did? And I don't even know if this is like my best advice, but I actually forced myself into taking public speaking class. And that was, my goodness. I mean, talk about just putting yourself out there. It was insane. But you do force yourself to meet people. So what I did was I put myself in the most uncomfortable situation. I wasn't focused on the one. I was focused on everyone, girl, and it was just like crazy. But it helps you get over that fear, because I feel like you just got to conquer it at the end of the day. The other thing I want to get into is on this episode of like full circle moments in your life, because this was such a full circle moment for you. So you go to this event. Explain to us how this even happened. Where did you hear about this event? And so then now where you're actually working with the team.
Yeah, sure thing. So the irony, my job at the time, I was on the ERG um at my previous job, and they the people on that ERG that ran that ERG were amazing people, like such great mentors, and they paid for a couple of us to go to this conference called CultureCon, and they got us VIP tickets, and I was like,
Nice.
okay, this sounds good. Like I'm figuring myself out too. And I literally walked in. I had this cute outfit. I was just so proud of my outfit. I had this bright pink suit on, and I walked in and I just felt like so grounded, and I didn't understand why yet until like I really just walked throughout the whole campus, and I realized like these are people who I resonate with. These are people like, because the word creative wasn't really used a lot when I was in college. So like I knew that I had all these great ideas, but I didn't have like a word for what that meant. I just thought that I just overthink a lot and sometimes it works in my favor. So like going to something like a culture con, I was like, wow, people who look like me, who think like me, who are going through similar things as me. It just felt like a breath of fresh air. And it made networking a bit cool. I think going through that, like, it was like, oh, this person got a fly fit on. I want to talk to you. You look super cool. Like, what do you do? Like, and it just made it a little easier for me. And I think I went there and I was talking to everybody under the sun. I was taking pictures, I was posing for things. Like, I was having myself a ball, and I ended up being on their Instagram, like from the event. I ended up being posted on the Instagram, and I appreciated it. So I like just kept in contact with the social media profile. I'm like, let me follow them, let me just like, ask them when they're hiring and things like that. And that was August of 2019. So I think in I mean, October of 2019. So in August of 2020, they had posted a fellowship role. And I'm like, you know what? I technically don't really got a job right now. So might as well shoot my shot. Like, this is my time. And I interviewed and I got it. And now I'm their creative production manager. So it's
That's
crazy how full circle things are. And I'm
so amazing.
so gracious for it. But yeah, I just went and had the time of my life, and I knew I had to work with them some way, somehow.
I wonder, like, what was your feeling when you got home after that event? Like, after such an amazing time at that event, you're meeting all these people. Like, what is your first, like, thought when you get home? Like, are you like, oh my God, like, whatever this was, I want to be a part of this. Like, what was going through your mind?
Absolutely. I think while I was there, I was literally like, I don't know how I'm going to work with them, but like, this is brilliant. Like, this is great. Like, there's nothing like this out there. Like, and I just kept saying that. I said that for months. I was like, I need to work with them some way, somehow. I don't know how, but like, I got to figure out what they got going on over there. I want to work with them. Like, I just love how they really, like, they just like created this sense of community in all aspects of the campus, whether you're sitting for a conversation or you're going through activations, you're meeting people, talking to people. And it was just so cool. It was refreshing. And I was just like, I need to figure out how to work with them. And I'm a hustler. So like once I like think about something and it's on my mind heavy, like I'm not
You
like
gonna
it's
make
not
it
going
happen.
nowhere until I get it. Like, and I'm just gonna make sure it happens. And I believe that divine timing. I believe in divine timing. I think when it's supposed to happen, it's gonna happen. So it was almost a year, but it happened, and I think that was a testament to me not like getting discouraged by time, and just knowing that that posting was posted for me, and that was my role before I got it. So
Yes. Oh, I love that you just said that. Yes. For people that are not familiar with CultureCon, like, how do you explain just the overall brand and like what someone who has not attended a CultureCon event, what is that?
I would say it's like the ultimate creative homecoming. Like it's literally like it's just a place for Black and brown creatives to genuinely connect, learn, cultivate community, find your next founder, find your next business partner, find a man, find a girl, find whatever you
Yes.
go for. Like it's just a really great place to connect with like-minded people. And I think we're losing, I think with social media, we kind of lose that sense of in-person connection and how important it is. And I feel like CultureCon kind of fills that void for like-minded creatives, and that's the best way I can like describe it, because I think there's so many. It's like a create your own journey type of experience.
Yes.
Like if you want to sit all day on a panel, you're gonna learn a lot.
Yes.
But if you want to sit on a panel in the morning and walk around the campus, you're gonna meet a couple people. You're gonna learn some things, and you're gonna eat some good food, and you're gonna
Yes.
leave feeling full in all aspects of the word.
Yes. One of the things that I love about CultureCon is that they really embrace like who you are as a person, right? Like they want you to come in as your authentic self. They don't want you to like dim your light at all. Speak about just even being a Latina and having this role at CultureCon where I would say like this is a role for you where they have very much empowered you to kind of find your own lane. Like they're not even trying to hold you back. Like you may have started in one thing, but you have literally have taken off since you've been there. So just explain to me a little bit about just like being a Latina in this space.
Yeah, for sure. I think, being a Latina in this space, I think representation is so important, right? Like, and I think having the conversation about, like, making sure all Black and brown creatives are represented at our conference, but also within our team is super important. And I hold it to the highest honor. I'm like, give me a mic. I'm always talking about Afro Afro Latina culture and just being a proud Afro Latina. And I think, um, just being able to be in a space that you said that cultivates me and allows me to thrive in my zone of genius. I think when I first started, I was just very scared because I'm like, this is a big deal. And having a boss who literally would see things in me that I didn't see in myself, I was scared at the time, but I'm so grateful for her because when I look back on it, I'm like, I was so scared to do X, Y, and Z. Now I could do that in my sleep. And
Yeah.
like, had you not pushed me or like empower me that I know how to do these things, I wouldn't be who I am now. And I think that's so important. Just having your community of people, your personal community of people really just rooting for you and just making sure you're set up for success. And I think the testament to that is just being able to thrive as Afro-Latina in this role for sure.
And I
I don't
think that's what I love about like your dynamic between you and your boss. I mean, she's amazing. But one of the things that I love is that she really bigs you up. Some bosses will take all the credit, right, for the hard work that everyone else has done to kind of make them shine. But she is not like that. She's always bigging you up. She's always giving you your flowers. And I think that's what I love about just the overall brand is like you guys really like talk the talk and walk that walk. Like you're not just saying it and doing something else behind the scenes. Like you really are showing what empowerment and just uplifting a community looks like, even in that space of like just working just among colleagues, right? Like that is so important in any job. I want to talk about some of the challenges that you may have faced as a Latina in some of these high profile roles, such as Rock Nation or HBO Max. Have you faced any challenges in these roles?
Yeah, for sure. I think, I had it twofold coming up. I was pretty young when I started and in these like bigger companies and I was an Afro Latina, right? So like it was like two things that were just really working against me in
Yeah.
theory where it was like, like she's young, she doesn't know any better. She's a Latina, I don't know like so I think for me, I felt like I had to prove myself for a good amount of time for a big part of the beginning of my career. Like it was just a constant battle of proving myself, even though I knew I was well more than capable to do everything.
All
And it
right.
was like just kind of just showing like for each thing a white man had to do, I had to do it tenfold. And I experienced that for 4 to 5 years at the beginning of my career, and it was really rough.
Yeah.
It was really, really rough. I think had to work 40 times harder than the average white man. And
Yeah.
it was something that I constantly battled. And it was very frustrating at first because I was just like, I know this in my sleep. Like, why don't you? But I like it was one of those things where you have to know those things. You have to be like phenomenal. You have to be extraordinary all the time, or else they're gonna just overlook you. And that was something I had to battle with for a good amount of time. That's and I think that's why I'm so gracious for my current role because it's not like that at all. But I think at the beginning, as a Latina, I felt like I always had to be extraordinary. There was never a day I could have an off day. There was never a day that like I just didn't feel like my most creative self. God forbid I was burnt out. Like I always just had to overwork myself just to get this much praise. And I think that was something I went through really early on in my career. And I think that really affects you as a person, starts to affect you as
Yes.
a person because you feel like you always have to be on. You can't take a second to be like, I need to rest. Rest wasn't like a thing for me until I got into my like career my jobs later on in my career, but like rest wasn't a thing. That wasn't a thing that was praised. That wasn't
Yeah.
It was always you got to come up with your best self. Like you got to come with your best self always, and you always got to show up. um and don't your boss, who is a white man, can come mediocre, but you have to always be extraordinary.
Right. Right. So do you feel like in a certain like sense like Latinas have to be strong?
I feel like that's a loaded question, and I'm smiling because I feel like I absolutely. I think in
Yeah.
this industry, we always have to be strong. You can't take nothing personally. You're told you can't take nothing personally. If that happens, like move on from it. Don't react emotionally because then you're too emotional. So
Yeah.
I absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the short answer. I think, Lord forbid I show too much emotion, then I'm over.
Right. Right.
I'm too vulnerable, I'm weak. And so that's very hard. I think now in a space where mental wellness is celebrated, it's nice to be in this day and age, but it hasn't always been like that. And there's so much work to be done. I think
Yes.
everybody talks about mental wellness and prioritizing it online, but like, are you really talking the talk? Or like,
Right.
because I feel like sometimes, most times, we're just expected to not take it personal, not be too vulnerable, and not be too emotional.
But where do you find that balance? Because this is not your only job. This is not the only thing that you do. I feel like every time I see you on social media, you adding another thing to your resume. I'm like, okay, this girl's literally not sleeping. I'm like, and then you go out to events and then you're creating the content. Are you editing yourself as well?
Yeah, I am.
Oh my goodness. So where do you find that balance between like, hey, I need time to rest, but I also have to produce this content because I guess to a certain extent there is some sort of pressure, right? Because you're competing against yourself at this point. So where do you find that balance to just have some Caitlyn time to just chill?
I think getting older, I just celebrated my 29th birthday in September, and I
That
think,
I will don't you dare. She said getting older, 29 is young. Oh
I
my
know.
goodness. You're a
My
baby.
29, it's my 29-year-old body don't work like my 23-year-old body no more. Like
Okay.
my 29-year-old body is loud. She will tell me when it's
She's
time
like,
to
sit down.
yeah, like she will tell me when it's time to rest. And I think I'm learning because I'm still going through it. I'm still trying to find that balance. And I don't know if I found it completely yet, but I'm learning to listen to my body more and like
Yes.
not allow it to the point where I'm literally like super sick and like I can't move, but like, oh, I'm a little tired. I'm gonna step into that and take my butt to
Yes.
bed. And like I might miss this event tonight because I'm yawning at 6 o'clock. Like, so I think I just listen to my body more. I think, and also I think my perspective has changed on the opportunities that I show up for. Like I really ask myself, how can is does this speak to what my overall purpose is? Does this really ladder up to my North Star? Does this like help me to help elevate me in any way? Like, and if the
Yes.
answer is no or I don't know, I politely tap out.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense. I want to get into my girls from Fortune and Forex, Naomi and Crystal Vega. You
Yes.
recently picked up a new role there, which congratulations.
Thank you.
I love Fortune and Forex. Like I'm always like bigging up Fortune and Forex. For anyone who hasn't tapped in with Fortune and Forex, you must tap in and try to become a member because I mean, if you talk about community, Fortune and Forex is just that. And they are constantly uplifting and celebrating us. How? Because you've kind of been with them for a while, but now this is like a new role for you. So explain to us like what this is, like now you're like a NYC rep ambassador. Like what does this encompass?
Yeah, sure thing. Me and Claire Attico, we're both we're both New York City reps, and we basically are here to like create more programming and more opportunities for the New York City chapter of Fortune and Forks to connect. I think, Crystal and Naomi are doing amazing things and traveling around the world in 80 days. And I think, you know, we're just here to support them and really keep New York City thriving and connecting and making sure that we're finding time to really cultivate community and connect with the girls in New York City. Um, and it's cool. I think I'm super excited to see how it lands out and pops out. But me and my girl Claire, like I think we're just such a dynamic duo. She's impeccable. She's super talented, and I think we're both very, very social in the sense of like we love connecting people and connecting community. So I'm super excited to see like what the future holds in terms of like opportunities to connect with the Fortune and Forks crew. But Yeah, it's super exciting. I'm so excited about it. We just had a holiday soiree like last week, and it was just
Yes.
nice meeting some new ads and some new members, and just getting to know all the new things that they have coming down the pipeline over there. Because Crystal and Naomi stay working.
Yes. So dope. I also want to get into the content. Because with you just even having these amazing roles in your life, the content just is right there along with this, right? Like you don't miss a beat. And you recently really took us behind the scenes of like how this is all going down in your life. What was that decision for you to say, all right, I want people to get to know like the real me? Because that to me was like nerve wracking. Like for me, I loved it because I'm just watching it. But for me, having to produce that and being so true, because now you're just like showing and bearing all skin. What was that mindset shift of like wanting to do this and tell us more about just who you are as a person?
Yeah, I think for me, it was two things. I went to dinner with a friend, and I remember she said something along the lines of like, "Oh, but you don't know what that means. Like your life is just so great, and like you have like the perfect job and the perfect life and the perfect things, and like you just don't like it's okay. Like you don't have to relate to that." And I'm like, dang, like does that really what is that really what I give? Because like just because I don't really like announce my losses doesn't mean that they don't happen. Like
Right.
I just feel like it's triggering to talk about it. Like, and I think, but that what that showed me is that, like, people need to hear those vulnerable stories because, like, they need to understand that it's never perfect. It's
Yes.
never perfect. It's very messy. It's very chaotic. And I think that kind of inspired me being a bit more vulnerable and like telling my story in my personal content. And then also just going to certain events and people coming up to me saying, like, oh, I followed you and I love your journey. And I would love to hear more about you. And I'm like, wow, like people actually care about what I got going on. Like I sometimes I live in a bubble, or I think as people we kind of go through the motions of the things that we do, not realizing the amount of people that it impacts or like touches. And I think that really showed me like, wow, like you actually care about my story. And I feel like now like my purpose is to serve you and like
Mhm.
tell you stories that really empower you to be your greatest self. And I think that's my sole purpose. So if I'm going to do that, I got to be vulnerable and I got to be a bit more transparent about my journey because it wasn't all sexy. Like it never was always sexy. It never is always sexy. And I think that's a common misconception about successful women, successful people. I think that it's always just peaches and cream, and it's not. It's not. It's very rough. There's times that I'm crying, sobbing, I'm like confused, I'm overworked, I'm burnt out, like just like everybody else. And I think understanding that that was something that people didn't think I went through really
Yeah.
concerned me. And I was like, okay, now it's time to really tell my story because I'm like, I just be popping in and popping out of social, but now I'm like, "Oh, maybe it's time for me to yap a little bit about what I be going through and what I think." So that's kind of what inspired my personal content.
Were you nervous about like what the takeaway would be and how people would actually receive this type of content?
Absolutely. I'm always nervous. Every time I'm about to post something, I'm always nervous. I'm always nerve-wracked. I just posted my first Substack article yesterday, and I
Yes.
posted it and closed Instagram, and I was freaking out in my living room. I'm always nervous. I feel like I'm like, because I feel like to an extent I'm an artist to in theory. Like I'm an artist and I'm very sensitive about my shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, dang, this is like my personal, like I created this. So now like I'm like, whoa, I'm very sensitive about it. So I'm just gonna close that. I'm gonna post it, but I'm gonna close the app and just breathe for a second and like
Yeah.
overreact and have my little meltdown and then come back and see how the people are loving it. So I'm nervous every single time I post a new thing. I
She's like,
think
not too much, not too much on me.
I'm like, not too much on me. I'm just a girl. I'm just here. I'm
Yes.
telling y'all the story the way I know how to tell the story. Like if you don't like it, fine, but just be kind because I know social media could be a really mean place, and I just don't want to hear it. Leave me alone. If all the mean things, keep that to yourself. Don't watch it. But like I'm nervous. To your point, to your question, I'm always nervous.
I'm
Um,
always nervous to post content. Like my team will make fun of me. I will overthink a content piece for such a long time. Girl, even down to the caption. I'm like, I will run my caption by like five people before it actually hits the gram. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know why I'm like this, but I can tell you that one of the reasons why I do follow you is because of your relatability, is the fact that you are showing that side, right? And to your point, you are just a girl. And I think if you just appeared so perfect, I don't know if I would be able to like really resonate with that, because I'm like, okay, well, how did she get here? You know, like I would never know that journey part. One of the things that I'm so excited about was when you directed your first campaign. I thought that was pretty cool to see. What were your thoughts on that? Like, how do you even go into this bag of like, I feel like your whole life has been you telling yourself, I could do this. No, I could do it. I could do this.
that's literally it. That's literally it. And I think with me, I'm just like, I'm delusional to like a really nauseating degree. Like, I'm like, ooh, that looks cool. I'm creative. I could do that. And like, I just really lean into it and like really study what that means. And then I show up and then I bring up being a Virgo a lot because I really think it's ingrained in who I am. Like, I'm very like Beyonce level, like, it has to be a production. It has
So
to
you
look
have like that routine, that schedule, you're striving for perfection.
yeah, and in
Yeah.
all the best and worst ways. And I
Yes.
think my level of delusion is like at a nauseum. And I think for me, stepping into like first of all, that's been my biggest accomplishment of 2024, like creative directing that campaign for Foot Locker and CultureCon. But I studied under a creative director who was my previous boss at CultureCon for a good amount of time. And he just really always put the battery in my back and instilled me in like just really stepping into my ideas and living in it. And like, what does that look like? So by the time like I kind of got my promotion and really leaned into my new role, I really was just like, I could do this. Like, I could do it. Like, I don't know what it
Yeah.
looks like, but I could do it. And I was terrified. I was up at like 4 in the morning. Our call time was 6 in the morning. And I remember I went to set and I was just looking around like, oh, this is it. Like,
Right.
I can't turn around. I just got to do it. And I feel like I just really just had a moment. And then I just stepped into character and I'm like, okay, period. Like, I could do this. Like, I'm good. Like, and when I
Yes.
left, I was like, "Ooh, what did I just do?" I felt like I was floating through the day, but it ended
I
up being
love.
beautiful. It ended up being amazing. Such an amazing team worked on it. Alongside me and it just showed me the importance of like a great team.
Yeah. And also believing in yourself, right? Like, what the hell? I would be crying after that. Like, if once you see your work, like, kind of just form into this thing that you just conjure up in your mind, I would be crying after that.
Think it didn't hit me. I was literally floating until I got the video, like the final video
Yeah.
files. Like and I saw it. And I was like, wow, this is it. And then when it went live and so many people were receiving it, like I think that's when I started sobbing. I was
Oh
like,
my God.
wow, like my ideas are enough. Like I am enough being who I am and what I think and what I feel and what I do. Like I take up my little corner of the internet and my little corner in this industry and people like love to see it and I love that for me and I was sobbing like a baby the whole day and it just I don't know I think community is just so important. I keep using that word, but it's just so important. Like people pouring back into you and reminding you, like, this is not like no little feat. Like this is a big deal. And like
Yeah.
you really need to like celebrate this. And I think just celebrating your wins, no matter how small or large they are, is super important. So that was like one of my biggest accomplishments this year for sure. Like I think I really like stepped out my comfort zone there. It was really me like doing something I never did before and just owning it. And I think having the confidence to own it was something that I was just super proud of.
I really do love that for you. And, you know, I'm happy that this was something that you experienced this year, but now we're wrapping up 2024 and we're going into a brand new year, 2025. What are some of the goals that you have, like just kind of leading up to this new year?
I think for me, I have started a new series on social and Substack called Diary of an Ambitious Creative. I really want to pour into that. Like, I feel like it's been such a passion project for me, but it's being received so well that, like, I'm like, you know what? This just has been feeling really good for me right now. And I think just pouring more into that, I think, um, I got work locked in. Like I'm good at that. I know that. And it's just like I have my own goals, of course, that come with work. But I think like that's my personal goal is to really just pour into my diary of an ambitious creative property and just really grow, let it flourish and make it its own living, breathing thing. It's been such a joy to pour into it already. So just continuing to grow and just post and write and do all these things. It's been really, really fun so far.
Who do you look up to, like in terms of creatives? Like, who are some of the creatives that you have your eye on and you're just like, damn, they're really dope?
Um, my mom, my mom. I think my mom is just a Renaissance woman. She's
Yes.
just like, she's so good. And she's like such a non-traditional creative, but
Mhm.
she's just my first exposure of what it looks like for a Latina to like really dominate a space. She had me when she was graduating NYU with her master's. And now she's a CEO of a nonprofit in the Bronx. And I feel like everything she does, I'm just obsessed. And like I've
Yeah.
always been obsessed with her. Um, and I think, you know, she's my mom. So I see her all the time and I'm just always so proud of her. And I think, you know, I look at her and I'm like, wow, like she's spending time being a parent still to grown ass kids, and I'm one of the grown ass kids, and she's still like conquering dreams and like crossing things off her bucket list and coming up with such amazing ideas for the nonprofit she works for. And like, I'm just like, this lady is just amazing. There's no bounds with her. And I think she's just my favorite creative. She's my favorite person. She's my favorite human. Whenever I doubt myself, I think about my mom and I remember that like she has done things that a lot of people say Latinas can't. She's done a lot of those things and I remember that I am able and I'm capable of doing so.
Girl, I could drop a whole tear for that. Like, listen, for anyone that knows me knows I do not play about moms. Like, I love my mom. So when I hear someone else like praise their mom, I'm like, yes. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's so, so, so dope. I want to get into some rapid fire questions with you though.
I'm
All
excited.
right. You excited?
Yeah, I am. I am.
All right, let's do it. Tell me you're Latina without telling me you're Latina.
Putting sofrito in everything and having it in the freezer, having a batch in the freezer when the one in your fridge finished.
What's your favorite Latin dish?
Ooh, I think I'm gonna go. I have a lot, so I think I'm just gonna get a little festive for the holiday season. I love a patele.
Yes. Do you cook, Caitlin?
I do cook, but I don't make patele.
Okay, okay. Okay. What's one thing you need in the morning?
Coffee, butelo is the only right answer.
What is this chapter of your life called?
Elevation.
Love that. What's the last movie that made you cry with laughter? It was so funny that you literally just cried.
What's the last? Dang, I was doing so good with the rapidness. I would say someone great on Netflix. It's um it's with Gina Rodriguez.
Yes.
I could rewatch that movie time and time again and still die laughing. And I watched it like a couple weeks ago and I was cracking up like I watched it for the first time.
So good. What does it mean to you to be Latina?
It means strength. It means purpose. It means community for me. I feel like wherever I go, I have some type of community because I'm like, oh, once people pick up that I'm Latina, they're like, okay, period. I'm happy. And I think that those three really speak to that for me.
Dope. What is something you would want to work on that you haven't already?
Hmm. A TV show. I would love to.
Fire.
I
See that.
I would love to either direct an episode or like be on a TV show just to cross it off my bucket list.
Yes.
No love
What'd you say?
no love shows though.
No love shows? So what
Don't
kind of
catch
shows
me
are
off
you
the
doing? Like comedies?
I
Like
don't
what?
yeah, I feel like if I wasn't doing the job I'm doing now, I would be a stand-up comedian.
I love
I would do it. I would just lean into it. SNL, all that.
Yes. If you had an opportunity to have the Last Supper with three Latinas, dead or alive, who would they be?
Celia Cruz. Absolutely. I'm
Yes.
trying to think my other two.
By the way, every guest I've had on this show, they always mention Celia Cruz.
I'm like La India.
Girl, you
I
speaking
just
to
would
my
like her
heart.
to perform at dinner. Like I think I just perform live.
Yes.
And my last one, I will have to bring my mama with me because
Yes.
she's the only person I know who would like really like appreciate that moment with me.
Dope. Three tips that you can give to young Latinas aspiring to work in digital marketing.
I would say if somebody tells you no, you're talking to the wrong person. If a door is trying to close, find that little crack and bust it open. Um, it might not always be pretty how you get it. Like sometimes you got to get real scrappy, but please know that it's going to pay off in the end. Don't stop. Don't stop your dreams. Don't stop. Like
Mhm.
if you got to refine, if you got to rework it, fine, but never lose sight of your dream.
And finish this sentence. Growing up Latina is.
Growing up Latina is making my mama proud.
Thank you so much, Kaitlyn Miranda, for coming on Growing Up Latina. Let everybody know where they could find you, drop your socials, and all that great stuff.
On Instagram and TikTok, I'm at _KAY Miranda, MIRANDA, and on Substack, Diary of an Ambitious Creative.substack.com.
Yes, thank you so much, Queen. I appreciate you. You know, I'm always rooting for you. And I can't wait for you to come to more of our events because you are
Yes,
like, you're the energy for real.
yes, of course, of course. Just let me know when.
Yes. All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Thank you.